Hi, today's lesson is absolute value. Our standard for today is 6NS7, understand ordering and absolute value of rational numbers. And our I can statement is I can understand the absolute value of a number and interpret it as a quantity in the real world. So go ahead and get your date on the paper, press pause, and get ready to go. Okay, here we go. Whoa. All right, our vocabulary word for today is absolute value. So I'm going to need you to write down this definition and go ahead and draw yourself a number line from negative 30 to 0 to positive 30, counting by tens. And then press pause and play again when you're ready. All right. So the number of units or distance between an integer and 0 is called the absolute value. In this example, we have two dots on negative 10 and positive 10, and it's asking us how many units away from 0 is negative 10. So when we draw our absolute value, this needs to be there we go, a vertical line, negative 10, vertical line. The absolute value of negative 10 is equal to 10 steps away from 0. We have negative 10, negative 5, 0. So there's 10 steps away from negative 10 to 0. On the positive side, the question is asking us how many units away from 0 is positive 10. Yes, Mrs. King has to get better at this pen. I agree. So the absolute value of 10 is also 10 because it is 10 steps, this time moving in the positive direction. So the absolute value of an integer can never be negative. You might want to put this in your notes. It can never be negative because it asks the question how far away it is from 0, and distance is always positive. You drive your car, positive miles. You run a race, positive yards or miles. You row a boat, positive distance. So in this example, we've got negative 15 and positive 15. And again, we need our negative 15 to be in those vertical lines. The absolute value of negative 15 is indeed 15 away from 0. And the absolute value of 15 is also 15 steps away from 0. In this case, negative 15 is 15 steps in the left direction or the negative direction, and positive 15 is 15 steps in the right direction on the number line. Both of them, indeed, are 15 away from 0. Tomorrow in class, we're going to talk about real-world examples. This is an example football game. On the first play of the game, the running back rushed for an 8-yard gain. Unfortunately, the ball was called back due to a penalty. So they went from the yard line of scrimmage, 8 yards ahead, and then back to the line of scrimmage. On the second play of the game, the quarterback was then sacked for an 8-yard loss. So in this example, the story tells us that negative 8 and 8 both had a distance of 8 yards. So tomorrow we're going to talk about what other situations we can write to show positive and negative distance, absolute values. And then we might watch Ferris Bueller's video on how he tries to get a negative distance out of a car. All right, so if you could jot down these 6 examples in your notes, we're going to go through these so we can give more examples of what absolute value is. So number 1, negative 7 is 7 away from 0. Number 2, 3 is 3 steps away from 0 in the positive side of the number line. Negative 101 is 101 steps away from 0. Sorry, that looks like a sad face. It's supposed to be an equal sign. Number 4 looks like a trick. 0 is neither negative nor positive, but it is 0 steps away from 0 on the number line. All right, negative 64 is 64 steps away from 0, and negative 23 is 23 steps away from 0 on the number line. All right, in these number sentences, we have absolute values and then an operation, so go ahead and get those down. It's asking us the absolute value of 5, which we now know is 5 steps away from 0. Then we're going to go ahead and bring down that addition sign in the number sentence. And the absolute value of negative 6 we now know is positive 6. So 5 plus 6 is 11, and our number sentence is complete. Even though we don't know how to add negative numbers, this is not asking us to do that. In the second example, the absolute value of negative 22 minus the absolute value of negative 4 turns into the number sentence of 22, bring down that subtraction sign, minus 4. And we've known 22 minus 4 is 18 for a long time. So we know how to do these because we know how far away the numbers are from 0 on the number line. So it is your turn to go ahead and press pause, get these 3 examples down, and then hit play and see if your answers are correct. All right. The absolute value of 14 is 14. The absolute value of negative 9 is 9, plus the absolute value of 3 gives us a total of 12 for this number sentence. And the absolute value of negative 8 is 8, minus the absolute value of 2, which brings us a difference of 6. Hopefully you got them right, and we're going to do some more with the absolute value in class tomorrow.